Hi there, this is Brian Koshley with AVRP Studios. We are celebrating Women's History Month, and I have with us Rosie Greenberg.
Hi, Rosie Greenberg. I'm a designer at AVRP Studios.
So Rosie, let's start out. Talk to us a little bit about what it was like as a young woman when design, architecture kind of first became on the scene. When did you first become aware, and how did you become aware of architecture as a possible career choice?
Yeah, architecture and design has always been a big part of my life. My dad is in commercial real estate development, and my brother now works with him. So when I was 18 and deciding my path, my career path, he actually was doing the building that I live in now, which is McClintock, and converted warehouse. So I watched the process. Jules Wilson in San Diego actually did it, and she was my mentor. And that was my introduction into interior design, which everybody told me to go into architecture. So I moved to New York, didn't really know what I wanted to do, took my first architecture class, cried the first day, and then fell in love. So and
what about it brought you to tears your first day?
Oh God, it's a totally new way of thinking, right? I've always been into art. I've always taken art classes. It's been a hobby. I was a ballet dancer. And so I've always had an appreciation for arts and culture, but I didn't understand how to use my brain that way. I'm a very math scientist oriented person. So it was a challenge and it was scary, and you're just thrown in. But yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. My exposure to the profession before I went to school was very technical. And then you show up in school and they're like, draw a coat on a chair. And you're like, excuse me?
Yeah, what?
Yeah, what did you want? So what brought you to AVRP Studios?
I was actually living in New York at the time. I had graduated college, and during college, I studied architecture but worked in fashion. And when I graduated, like every 18-year-old girl who lives in New York, I decided to pursue fashion temporarily. And about a year out, I realized that I was missing something. I wasn't being challenged, and I wasn't creating the same way that I had been in school. And so I quit my job and decided I wanted to go into interiors and architecture. So I took a course at Parsons, fell in love, and was applying out in New York. And I sent my resume and portfolio to my dad, and he passed it along to Frank and Chris. And I got an email or a call from Chris, and he said, we're AVRP, look us up. If you move back to San Diego, we'd love to chat. And so I packed my bags and I moved back home to San Diego and had an interview with Chris and Frank, and we talked a lot about the ideation lab. It was when Seaport Village we were redoing that, and it was just too good of an opportunity to pass up. So here I am 4 years later.
Great. Wow, there you go. It's been 4 years. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So what's your favorite thing about AVRP Studios?
There's a lot, but the broad variety of things that I get to work on is so exciting. I mean, I feel like I've done everything from big urban planning conceptual to test fits for rush cycle to DSA comments. So I've learned a lot, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, the market diversity is pretty impressive. That the studio concept is one thing I really enjoy, that we have the depth on the bench to have all these different market segments that we're strong in. And as you mentioned, we can draw from talent to work on different projects.
Totally. And there's a lot of trust. I mean, the amount of freedom that Chris and Frank and everyone kind of gives for everyone to design is amazing. I'm not stuck, redlining or doing a task. It's use your brain. What do you think? And that's pretty cool. It's pretty special.
I spent the first year of my career doing bathroom plans and stair drawings. So yeah, it's a much better profession today than it was when I started out. Yeah. If you could give advice to women in the industry, if you had one piece of advice to give women in the industry, what piece of advice would you give?
I think it's as simple as use your voice. I mean, you matter, right? There's a male's perspective and a female's perspective, and you need both to create something for everybody. And I think they really complement each other, and that's something that I think we do well at AVRP is there's a good mix of women and men, and they come together, and the different rationales, they're the yin and the yang. They make each other work.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. And what about something personal? If we put you in a time machine and sent you back in time to when you were first becoming aware of design and architecture, you had advice that you wanted to give from the experience you've gained to date. What piece of advice to the younger self would you give?
I think it'd be bold. Don't let fear hold you back. Again, use your voice, ask for what you want, and stand up for yourself. And I think that, yeah, fear of judgment or criticism can kind of hold somebody back. I holds myself back sometimes, and there's no reason, because it's at the end of the day, it's art. So there's no right or wrong.
Good advice. Final question.
Yeah.
So the theme for International Women's Day this year is choose to challenge. So if you were to apply that theme either personally or professionally or in some other form, how would you apply the theme of choose to challenge to your own life and your career?
Well, personally, this is kind of an easy one for me. I am driven by this fear of complacency. I think that it's easy to get stuck in a routine and follow the social norms and, do what everybody else is doing because it's easier. But you have to wake up each day and make the decision to make your life different and to expand and grow and get out of your comfort zone. So yeah, choose to do that. Choose to grow and choose to push yourself and to push others. I think it's almost more personal than for anyone else. But if you're bigger and you're better, then those who surround you will be bigger and better.
I like that a lot. I think those are wise words. Well, thank you, Rosie. I know you and I are actually working on a project together right now, and I know you're working on a deadline, so I'm not going to keep you much longer. Really appreciate you taking time to share your thoughts with us.
Yeah, thank you, Brian.
All right, we'll talk soon.